Tonight on Studio 12, a woman leading the charge for inclusion in construction, an immersive rewind through the 1990s, a band blending bluegrass with Southern soul. Also, what is Series Fest and why is it such an important part of Denver? We get into that, plus a remarkable local artist who creates without seeing. All that and more right here on Studio 12.
From the Five Points Media Center in the heart of Denver, Colorado, this is Studio 12.
In a field that is predominantly men, one woman is rewriting the blueprint. Meet Allie Spray, an immigrant, a mother, and now the CEO and president of the Hispanic Contractors of Colorado. From being the only woman in her college engineering class to advocating for equity in boardrooms and job sites, Allie's story is a testament to resilience, representation, and the power of voice. Tonight, as part of our Humanize Colorado series, Women in the Workforce, she shares her journey and why she's committed to building a more inclusive future in construction.
My name is Allie Spray. I go with Allie, but my full name is Alejandra Spray. I'm the CEO president of an association called Hispanic Contractors of Colorado. We always have this notion that construction is a male-dominated industry. What we see in the labor, in the general managers, every level. But as years have gone by, more women interested in the STEM fields, more women proven that they have the skills, the knowledge, and the passion for construction, we're changing that narrative. It's no longer a male-dominated industry, it's a male-populated. There are women taking more leadership roles as owners, entrepreneurs, as architects, engineers, designers, construction managers. I was the only woman in my classroom. There were 23 male classmates, so in my graduation picture, I'm the only woman in a picture of 23 guys. People think it's my quinceañera or my wedding picture, and I say, no, that's my graduation picture. My teachers didn't treat me differently. They treat me as one of the guys. And that's one of my prides to see that picture for both my kids to see. If you have your passion, if you have a goal, you just have to fight for it. Then moving to the United States as a Latina, as a woman of color, moving into an industry that, again, we were thinking is only for men, white men, and trying to make my career advancement, and proving that I have the skills, the knowledge, that I went to school and have a degree. And when I moved here, my degree didn't transfer, so it was the language barrier, it was the cultural barrier, but I know that I wanted to be part of this industry. It was just finding my place where I felt comfortable to keep thriving and growing. It has always been a challenge, sometimes being the only woman in the room, being that voice. And, we hear about the stereotype that you come too passionate. I've been labeled as outspoken, too loud, too Latina. But it's about that I'm the same. I'm this person. And when we see it with the male counterparts, we always feel like it's not the same standard. Male are advanced because they have the potential. They see the potential in them, but women are promoted based on performance. They have to perform a special project, make sure they give these results. There have been some sacrifices being in this point in my career. We say leadership has some sacrifices. I have the honor of being a mother of 2 teenagers. I was not the typical mom to be in their PTA meetings, volunteering. I was the mom that you tell me what you need, I'll bring it to you. I'll buy it from the store. But I was always honest with my kids at their level of understanding. The mom was not going to be always picking them up or being in the function at the school. But if they needed their mom for an emergency, mom will be there. And I explained to them how important was my career. To be honest, I don't think I regret anything. I know that this is what I wanted. My kids now, 16 and 19, they know the value, they understand their place in my life, and they see women can make it. People feel women are really hard on each other in this industry, and it is. The reasoning is sometimes companies don't give the same opportunities. We see there's an opening position, and all women, we're gonna fight for it. And also ageism is a factor. Women, as they get seasoned, they don't have the same opportunities as men in a different age. So sometimes we're mean to each other because we're fighting for that opportunity to be seen, to be taken in consideration. And sometimes for my colleagues, when they're younger, it's like, oh, you're too young to be this project manager. Oh, I didn't know you will be in this meeting. If a man comes to the room and say, I have 20 years, they take it like, oh, yes, you do. A woman still always have to say, I've been in projects, I have run my business, I'm doing this. Even women trying to get loans for their businesses is hard because, again, they feel like, do you know the industry? Do you know the business? So it's still worth fighting, but we're not giving up that fight. Sometimes it's not just the pay, it's the title that we deserve it. And nothing gets me more a little passionate when people ask me why you need the title. And I say, because I'm tired to carry my resume to every room I walk into. The association has been around for 34 years, and they always have executive directors. So when they asked me for the opportunity to be in this role, I asked, yes, but I want to change the title to CEO and president. And that took them a little back, like, why? I say, because you deserve this title, and I deserve the title to go with it. And if you look in the industry and construction, most of these organizations, they have men, they get the CEO president title. So take it, think about it, and let me know. And a couple days later, they call me and say, yes, you can get the title. To advocate for myself and not be afraid to ask for what I wanted. It was a little moment of, oh, okay, they say yes. Wow, now what I do with it. But also a pride moment of, as a Latina, I negotiate what I wanted. For me, I want to see more women of color advancing and opening business and being successful. As in any industry, there's competitiveness, there's sometimes jealousy, but we identify the women, they're elevating each other and they're supporting because we know that we're not going to be here forever. We have to support our younger generation and we have to make sure our voices are being represented in more rooms to open more space. So hopefully more women will see, I'm not competing, I'm just trying to also make my path as well. What I want to see is the data, is the numbers. How many women have stayed in this industry? How many women are being promoted, and not just in the field labor, but how many have been promoted to upper management, vice president, C-suite levels? Those are the numbers that I still want to see because that's really telling me you are investing and you really believe in the power of women. Being recognized with accolades by the Women's Chamber, by the LGBTQ Chamber, by my industry, it really fills me with joy because I came here 25 years ago with a suitcase and a lot of dreams, and I just wanted an opportunity to work. Being an interview here today in PBS, I was watching PBS when I was transitioning from coming to Mexico, from Mexico to the United States, watching all the kids shows, Sesame Street, Arthur, Curious George, just to get familiar with the English. And now being here and a seat here in PBS, a really well-respected station, is one success that I can just pat myself and say, I made it. So what I'm gonna do with this now, how I'm gonna elevate other women to say, you can make it too. I serve on the board of a STEM organization, STEM Blazers, and we inspire young women interested in STEM careers. And what we've seen is the representation, for them to see, for them to hear our stories, for somebody to hear an immigrant that was afraid to leave my apartment because I was afraid of getting lost. So sometimes I had to draw a little map in my hand, watching TV to learn the English. It's about the determination. It's about knowing that sometimes you will fail. It's about sometimes you will not always find the allies. But have the faith, there are people cheering for you, and then if you look around in this industry, you will find a female or woman that will say, I'm here. This sisterhood is here. We will help you, we'll protect you, we'll guide you, and we'll sometimes correct you too, if you're trying to go in a different path that you're bringing us back to. So it's for those people or women that are looking, we all feel lost at one point. We sometimes question our skills, but don't let it last too long. Look at yourself in the mirror, make your power pose, call a friend, reach out to me, and if you need a pep talk, I will give it to you that you're capable, you're strong, you're smart. The only thing you need is the desire to keep fighting. It's not women versus men. It's about how we bring different skills, different perspectives, and we make a team stronger. We see construction as diverse. Diversity is in everything. We all have our backgrounds. We all have our ways of thinking. So it's not only the color of your skin, but we have to ensure that people feel included and they feel like they belong in there. So I work with, our membership is around 200, comprised by females, women starting their business in construction. The people feel, is your husband, is your father's business? women have started their business on their own. They have that degree and they started. So for me, it's talking to companies and say, it's not about the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. If you're talking about reaching out to local clients, why you don't reach out to local suppliers, to local contracting companies? And even my members' companies, they say, I don't want the job because I'm checking the box for you. I want the job because I'm qualified and capable of doing this work. So working to help people understand that diversity is part of our fabric. We are a great, and I don't call it the melting pot, it's the salad bowl. We all have a spice, we all have a flavor that we bring and enrich our community. It's how we include everybody in whatever capacity, how we make them feel welcome. We all want to provide for a family, we all want to create generational wealth, we all want opportunities, and we all want to be recognized for what our talents and our skills.
Since we last spoke to Allie, she's kept at it. Allie traveled to Washington, D.C. to advocate for small business. She's spoken on panels for several organizations, including World Denver, Swinnerton, and MTech Mechanical. Allie also received a big honor, the Trailblazer Award from the Denver Airport Great Hall Workforce Team. Colorado's cultural heartbeat is under pressure. From museums to music festivals, organizations are facing serious funding challenges, both from federal cuts and a shifting corporate landscape. Kyle Dyer and our Colorado Inside Out panel takes a closer look at what's happening behind the scenes, how it connects to our broader history, and why it matters now more than ever.
Hi there, Bazi, and welcome to the set of Colorado Inside Out. On this week's show, among other things, our Insider panel is discussing how our cultural institutions and organizations here in Colorado are scrambling right now with a drop in federal dollars or a retreat by local corporate sponsors. And our conversation also turned into a bit of a history lesson. Colorado's cultural entities are really scrambling right now, either with a reduction in federal funding or from corporate partners who are questioning their support of these local events and organizations. I'm going to start with you over there, Alton.
Yeah, one of the things I always tell my clients is they need to have diversified funding sources. And one of the things that people sometimes forget is that there's a sort of a pattern here. So I'm going to use the example of the transition that happened between US West and Quest. Back when US West was still the phone company here, they were big into diversity, corporate giving, etc. As soon as Joe Nacho and the Quest crew came in, those were the first two things to get removed. And, you know, I was a member at the time of the Urban League Young Professionals, believe it or not, and that sort of created this domino effect of what needed to be scrambled up funding-wise. And the whole thing with DEI to me is that two things. One, that the main beneficiaries are white women. Second of all, when it comes to the whole issue of quote-unquote DEI, we self-identifying blacks are only about 14% of the country. So why people think that this is just somehow getting rid of any form of meritocracy when they're trying to erase our history. So there are two movements going on right now. There's the hands-off movement, and then there's also what is, I'm going to paraphrase, the Sit Your Black Behind Down movement, where people are saying it wasn't folks who look like us who put the country on this trajectory, so maybe it's time for some more pink hat marches or something.
Yeah, I totally agree on the diversification of funds for especially nonprofits or cultural centers. I mean, I think it's always important to approach things in that way. One of the stories that I've spent a lot of time telling and learning about in recent years is actually that of the United States Postal Service. And the number of people that I meet all over the country that have a family member that was a postman or a letter carrier or a postmaster. In fact, Abraham Lincoln was a postmaster at the age of 18 years old in Salem, Illinois, made about $50 a year and served in that role. And fast forward to the Civil War, that was where he had the idea to actually have soldiers vote by mail because he had been a postmaster and understood that's how you could deliver a really important aspect of government to those soldiers that were serving abroad. So you look at the history, the Postal Service is now 250 years old this year, and our country is a year younger, and it literally built the economic engine of the United States, and it grew with the diversity of the nation. And it all happened naturally because we were trying to build something that would bind the nation together. And I think it's a great example of the importance of understanding history and recognizing that so that we can all grow together to build a better future.
All right, Patty, what you got?
I'll try to give a lesson. Colorado Humanities sent out an alert earlier this month that it was in big trouble because its funding, National Endowment for the Humanities, also comes down to the state humanities councils. They say we're going to have to get rid of our programs like Colorado Book Awards, the Poet Laureate programs. They do a Chautauqua where they have people going and giving presentations on historic figures. Endowment, the humanities in this state, and probably every single state, is in trouble because most of their money does come from the feds or other government sources. By contrast, the Colorado Council on the Arts and Humanities switched to Colorado Creative Industries under Brian Vogt a long time ago, and they diversified their funding and their different programs, so they're in less trouble. Still a state program, but they're in a lot less trouble than humanities is here. But you look at Juneteenth, right outside this door, which is talking about it's going to have to go down. Its 59th year, from 2 days down to 1, and even that is in trouble. So we need to celebrate the arts, the humanities while we can.
And lastly, Penn.
You know, Amber's lesson was a good one because you need to know that when you think about and hear about these efforts to privatize the Postal Service. It's like, why? It's not like some of the other private messenger and delivery services are great shakes. There are places they won't go and they won't serve. So consider that when you hear some of these things. In terms of diversifying support within the nonprofit community, I would just offer this to the corporate community. If you're going to let a single president tell you who and what you can support and who and what you can believe in, be careful, because when the script gets flipped and someone else is in charge telling you things that you really might not like, you're going to have to explain why you did it this one time and not other times. And what the administration is doing, and Patty talked about what's happening with the humanities, same thing's happening with the Institute for Museum and Library Services. History Colorado has lost some funding, and we've relied on federal funding for 7 of our museums, 4 of our cultural sites. It helps support the Sand Creek Massacre exhibit. It helps support the Ute Mountain Ute Museum in Southwest Colorado. A number of our cultural institutions will suffer, and they tell our collective history. They're not making stuff up.
You can find the full episode of Colorado Inside Out at pbs12.org, on the PBS Passport app, or on our YouTube channel. And you can also listen to our podcast, which is on Spotify and also on Apple Podcasts. And of course, to stay on top of all things Colorado, we've got a brand new episode ready for you every Friday night at 8 o'clock right here on PBS 12.
For most of his life, Trevor Hahn expressed his creativity through graphic design, until a sudden loss of eyesight in 2014 changed everything. But instead of stepping away from art, Trevor found a new way forward to continue his passion. Tonight, in our Heart of the West series, we meet the Colorado artist who's proving that true creativity knows no limits.
Seem to have lost something I was working with. Oh, here it is. My name's Trevor Hahn, and I'm an artist and sculptor. I work under the name Trevor Hahn's Art Through Touch. Right now I'm working on a beehive. The hive is made of pan lids that, like for cooking, creating a ton of bees for it. So I used a nut for the head. I start with something and then I build off of it. What I'm doing now is just putting the front legs on the... How I started art in my life, my whole entire life, was my grandfather, who was an exceptional artist before computers and all this. That he was a commercial artist, and he painted signs by hand. I did do a little bit of sculpture in school, high school, and college, but then I got into metal, and it transformed into me just drilling holes and fastening things together. It's all metal work, no welding. I never learned how to weld. It's all for sale. I mean, I rescue a lot of things and just upcycle them into something that is beautiful. So I do a lot of outdoor activities. Basically, I find inspiration for my subject matter on these travels and my climbs and things. I want to break through this whole thing where artists get paid before they die, so. Oh God, it was absolutely the worst possible thing I could have imagined. In about 2014, I had complications from a thing called ankylosing spondylitis that caused like pressure in my eye, and then my optic nerve was damaged. I had a commercial art job and everything, and then basically in 2014, lights out, and it was very hard to take. I basically went into depression, didn't know what I was going to do. I was a visual artist before I didn't know what to do, and I remembered this thing called sculpture, so my mental state is much better when I'm doing sculpture and art and actually creating and making something useful out of nothing, rather than just sitting around doing nothing and feeling sorry for myself. I get out there and do a lot of cool things with creating. As I hit my head on I love to hear the joy on people's in their voices or whatever, and I hear the joy, and that makes me happy, and that basically makes me happy. I'm just trying to show people that if you do hit a barrier or whatever, you can continue on, and it can be done, and maybe other people will follow that are in the same situation.
Trevor says as long as art brings him joy, he'll keep creating, and now he hopes to share his art with others by selling his work. By the way, this is just one of the many stories that capture the true spirit of our Heart of the West series. Well, it's time to rewind to the 1990s. In this week's ViewFinder segment, we're taking a trip back to a decade that redefined culture, technology, and the way we connect with the world. The 90s, last decade before the future, is an exhibit at the History Colorado Center. Our own photojournalist Rico Romero takes us on a nostalgic ride of 90s memorabilia, fashion, toys, and more. Take a look.
We have the 90s, last decade before the future. So we've brought back the greatest decade of all time. We're trying to tell the story of how the 90s brought us to today. My name's Jeremy Morton, and I'm an exhibition developer and historian at History Colorado.
I never realized how cool the 90s were.
Look at this. This is so cool. Look at the pictures.
And now I'm like, I would totally go back to the 90s.
First off, they're gonna learn a little bit about how the 90s sort of acted as this sort of bridge decade that brought us from an analog past to a digital future. That's what we mean when we say last decade before the future. This is the rise of the information age.
I wonder if I can find any of my old tickets.
As they uncover this very interesting story about the 90s, they'll also see some pretty incredible objects, things like Bill Clinton's saxophone, John Elway's jersey, Biggie's sweater, Backstreet Boys outfits, Tom Hanks' uniform from Saving Private Ryan. There's just so much to see and really something for everybody.
Is this from the Addams Family?
I think because it's such an intergenerational exhibit, you know, there's something for boomers, there's something for millennials, there's something for Gen Z even, right?
I wish you could see what I was seeing right now, though. It's like, I swear I can literally grab it.
Anybody could come here and find something that they sort of wave over the person they're with to come check out. Like, oh my gosh, they have Jay-Z's Nikes? Like, come over and check this out.
This is so crazy.
There's all these things that they like, oh wow type of moment.
I'm kind of getting tripped out. I don't even know if, like what is real right now. I feel like I can touch it.
It's kind of emotional, honestly.
You're like, oh yeah, it brings these memories sort of flooding back when they see the desk like that, or a PC, or a beeper, or an old cell phone, or the giant Magnavox TV, the Blockbuster video.
So you would put these in machines called VCRs.
It sort of taps into these memories people sometimes forgot they had.
Which movie did you pick? Oh, you're getting Star Wars? Men in Black? Nice choice.
Sometimes you showed up at the Blockbuster and they didn't have the tape you wanted, so we have the sort of Blockbuster rental case that you would have behind the VHS tape.
Or you bring the one behind it and then you leave this there.
People often discount our lived history, our recent history. When they visit history museums or they think about history, often they're thinking hundreds of years in the past or even thousands of years in the past. And it's easy to sort of discount the stuff that we lived through.
You know, I feel like just because I'm 2001, I can't really tell like how far away I am from like the 90s. And I'm like, of course, some of these things I've interacted with them before, but I'm like, oh, am I part of it? Probably not. But it's just still kind of close, and like that's part of my childhood too, you know?
People were like, why? You know, why would you do something on the 90s? And then you start to talk about like, oh, you know, we land on Mars for the first time, or Denver International Airport, you know, Denver's growth, or the reshaping of global politics. All these huge events happen in the 90s, these watershed events happen, and people are like, oh wow, yeah, the 90s really was a significant decade.
So it's super fun to show them and explain my childhood.
I'm 24 right now, and I'm like, I clearly don't get a lot of the like stuff that's happening nowadays, right? And I'm like, at what part would they be going through my childhood, you know?
You can see the 90s, last decade before the future, at the History Colorado Center in Denver, now through October 26th. The museum is open daily from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and admission is free for kids 18 and under. For tickets and more information, visit historycolorado.org. Also, what is Series Fest, and why is it such an important part of Denver?
Series Fest is an annual festival promoting new television series and episodic storytelling. And it's been in Denver for over a decade now, and we're going into the 11th year. It's happening right now, going through this coming Sunday, the 4th. And Series Fest is, I guess you could equate it to television as Sundance is to film. It is a big deal, and it's so appropriate that Series Fest has found its home here in Denver, since Denver is really where cable TV was born. Randy Kleiner is the co-founder of Series Fest. I'm so glad you're here to talk about it. We met the first year, 2015, and wow, what a run you're having, your 11th year. Now, this is kind of an in-the-know kind of thing for content creators and people in the biz, but anyone in Denver can go. Talk about Series Fest.
That's absolutely correct, and we really, there's really something for everyone, which is what I love so much about Series Fest. But you kind of, hit it. It's, if you're familiar with the Sundance Film Festival, very similar, except everything we do is television. And I feel like everyone's watching television these days, which is really exciting. So we do things like world premieres of big network screenings. So for example, we did the world premiere of Yellowstone. Not a lot of people know that. We did the world premiere of Yellowstone here, and we had actors and the creators here and did a huge red carpet, showed a screening, had a Q&A, the whole thing. And so we have several of those coming this coming year, and I'll talk about those. We do panel discussions, so you can learn about how your favorite television series get made from the creators, from the actor point of view, from costume design, set design, all different things. And then at the core of what we do, we also show about 50 independently produced pilot episodes. So these are first time, they're emerging creatives, they've made a pilot and the pilot's looking for a home. And studios and networks come and buy content out of the festival. So for example, we world premiered a series called Cooper's Bar several years ago. It stars Rhea Seehorn from Better Call Saul. And AMC picked it up. It's had 2 seasons on AMC+, and we're actually doing an alumni spotlight screening of that series. We're going to have the entire Cooper's Bar team with us on Thursday night, and including Rhea Seehorn. And we'll be screening a couple of episodes and doing a Q&A, but it's a really great opportunity to get to see how also the independent landscape, which is a really exciting time right now, and to really get to see things first. I mean, people that saw Cooper's Bar at Series Fest several years ago, they saw it first. They supported it. They saw how much they loved it. You know, they got to vote on an audience award, and that really helped lift it up and get the attention of somebody like AMC Plus, and now it's had a couple seasons.
Oh my God, and you always start with a big bang at Red Rocks.
Yes.
And this year, Amy Schumer was asked to be the headliner. What was her reaction?
Oh my gosh, she was so excited. I mean, it's obviously a massive stage, a world-renowned theater and opportunity. You know, there's so much comedy happening at Red Rocks right now. More and more that we've seen, it plays really well up there. To have someone like Amy Schumer, I mean, she is, you know, she's done film, she's done television. She just had a huge new film on Netflix recently. And what's really cool about this is she's not touring anywhere. So this is like a one-off, really cool, unique time that we're going to get, you know, a beautiful set with Amy Schumer. She's so mission-aligned and on brand for us. We are female founded and led. And so we love putting a female headliner front and center to kick us off at Red Rocks Amphitheater.
So aside from all of this fun going on this week, you are a year-round nonprofit. Talk more about some of the education and the outreach you do for Series Fest.
Absolutely. So throughout the year, we really help creatives from pitch all the way through to production take the next steps in their career. We do that through professional development initiatives, mentorships, education. So here's a great example. We have an incredible mentorship, women directing mentorship in partnership with Shonda Rhimes and Shondaland. You may know Shonda Rhimes from Grey's Anatomy to Scandal, Bridgerton. We've been doing this partnership. We're in its 6th year. The winner of the partnership gets to actually go and mentor on a full episode of a Shonda Rhimes series. So our recent winner actually got to fly to London and shadow for several weeks on Bridgerton. And they've actually hired several of our winners to direct full episodes after on different series. So it's a really amazing opportunity. We also, Kaylee and I, my co-founder, met at theater camp. So something that's always been very important to us has been the educational aspect. So something that's really cool that we do here in Colorado that we launched several years ago is our mobile cinema lab, where we actually bring in 2 filmmaker instructors into schools and partner organizations, along with professional film equipment, so camera, sound, lighting, editing. And we work with students over 20 contact hours to write, shoot, produce, and edit a short film. And then we do a big screening at the end. And that program tripled in size this year. We're in 27 schools and organizations just here locally, plus 4 national organizations thanks to a partnership with Best Buy. So we're in Orlando, New Jersey, Atlanta. We're in Brooklyn. We've done Los Angeles. So it's really a growing program, both locally and nationally, that we're so excited and seeing. We're going to serve over 1,000 students this year.
Wow, that is amazing. We might need to get some of those young content creators here at PBS 12.
I love that idea.
You know, speaking of PBS, you do have the people behind Carnival who produced Downton Abbey coming for a panel discussion, and Downton Abbey can still be seen on the PBS 12 Passport. Still, after all these years, people still love it.
Oh my gosh, how can you not? I mean, the world, the characters, all the things, but we're so excited. So, you know, as we mentioned, this upcoming festival, we have so many different events. One of the big things that we do that we launched last year is a soiree, and it's our gala-style fundraiser, but in a Series Fest style. We definitely have a lot of fun, but we're going to be honoring the Carnival Films team. So this is the team behind all the Downton Abbey series and films. They also had a recent series with Eddie Redmayne that did really well. They have a series coming up with Succession's Sarah Snook called All Her Fault that's coming up. But as far as Downton Abbey, we're going to have Alan Leach here. You may know him as Tom the Driver, but we're going to have him here. We're going to be honoring them at this soiree. We're also going to be honoring Rhea Seehorn, and we have one other big actress that we'll be honoring there as well. But it's always a really fun event. That's Friday, May 2nd. We hosted at Asterisk. It's, there's always entertainment and it's a big dinner, but this whole one's going to be Downton inspired. So it's going to be kind of Edwardian themed. We've got like amazing just music and food and all these things. And it's going to be a real kind of immersive dinner experience.
Fun. Now, you're bubbling over every aspect, but is there one event during Series Fest that you just kind of sit back and you're like, this is why I do this?
Ooh. Very hard to pick one, but there's a few. There's one that I really love every year that we did since our first year in 2015 that we've done. So we do a script writing competition, and we've had different partners. And this year we partnered with the office's Ed Helms, and he has a production company called Pacific Electric, and they kind of do, his thing is warm-hearted comedies. So we go out to, we get hundreds to thousands of submissions in, we pare it down, and we show the winning script. We are actually going to be doing a live read with professional actors and a professional director at the festival. It's on Thursday night. It's just a really fun, I love all the screenings we do, but this event's kind of fun because it breaks away from the screenings for a minute and you get to hear a live read. And there's so many local actors that are a part of the live read. So it's just a really fun and unique event that I just personally think is really, really cool.
And so I shouldn't be overwhelmed to come and sit in. Everyone is welcome. How do we get into these events?
That's a great question. So we have passes that get you kind of all access, that get you into, not just the screenings, the programs. We, of course, do special events all over town in the evenings, and we have a great women's creator brunch. Or you can buy individual tickets. You can just say, I just want to come and see what it's like and check one thing out. And you can just show up at the Film Center and buy a ticket. There's so many great things for just people that love television. On Saturday, we have 2 big world premieres that I'm super excited about. Starting off, we're going to be premiering from Acorn TV, Art Detectives. And we're going to have star Stephen Moyer here. You may know him from True Blood. He was the star of True Blood. So that'll be really fun. We have him and the creator here.
Okay.
And then following that, if you're a true crime adaptation fan, we are doing the world premiere of Peacock's Devil in Disguise. It's the Wayne Gacy story. So definitely a little darker. We'll have the showrunner and the star Michael Charnas here. And again, just these are 2 series that you will see everywhere that, you can come see it first and get to have a conversation after, ask questions, meet the creators of these shows, the stars of these series.
And these are events going on throughout Denver.
Yeah, so most of everything that we host is at the C Film Center. We partner with Denver Film.
Got it.
Right, exactly, on Colfax. So almost all of our screenings and panels are there.
What do you think? You went to theater camp. You're a producer. You're doing this event. At the heart of it all, we are all drawn to really compelling stories. Stories that move us, make us think. We tell our friends about it. What do you think is what makes a compelling story?
That's such a great question. I think when it comes to television, very different than film, I think it's really starts with world and characters. Is this a world we want to live in and characters we want to follow and support for hours at a time? Unlike a film where you might, you're with someone an hour and a half, 2 hours or so, with a series, you could be with them, forget 10 hours. You could be with them for 7 seasons, 12 seasons, Grey's Anatomy, 21 seasons. So, really starting with that, I think for television is really important. And, always finding, no matter what kind of story it is, you've got to find someone or something that you want to attach onto and continue to go back to every time.
And here you are, season 11 for Series Fest. We're going to keep it going.
Absolutely. It's crazy. We said that we met year 1. We were, a weekend festival. We were 2 days. We had some amazing things. We world premiered Mr. Robot that year, which is another incredible series that's taken off, obviously. And, to think where we are now, we're 6 days as a festival, a year-round nonprofit organization, which I think is incredibly important. We've got a full-time staff and supporting and just continuing to grow and grow and grow. And our audiences are growing. The talent that we have here is growing. I thought I would also just mention we are doing something really cool this year. We're doing 2 live podcast recordings, which I think is kind of, again, unique and fun. We're doing one on Wednesday night with the ACLU. We're going to have W. Kamau Bell with us. He hosts the ACLU's podcast, so we'll be doing a podcast on that. And then on the Saturday, and this guy's a legend, we're bringing in Maury Povich. He just launched a podcast a week ago. And he is coming with former CNN correspondent Jessica Yellen, and they're going to do a live podcast conversation. And just somebody like that that's a journalist, been a legend on TV as well. So important. To have somebody like that, I think, here in Denver doing an event, again, accessible to everybody, I think it's going to be really fun.
Well, thank you for making this all happen in Denver.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
People can go get their passes.
Seriesfest.com. You can buy individual tickets there. You can buy passes. Please don't hesitate to reach out. You can come down to the C Film Center, call the C Film Center. But certainly check out seriesfest.com for our full schedule, full program. And we hope to see you there.
I'll be there.
Okay, great.
Randy Kleiner, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
If you like your country with a touch of bluegrass and a whole lot of soul, you're going to love this. We leave you today with Sounds on 29th at Cervantes Masterpiece Ballroom, where Denver's own Clay Street Unit lit up the stage. Formed in 2021, this rising band is making big moves with a new album dropping this year. We also sat down to talk with them before their big show. Thanks for watching Studio 12. Be sure to follow us on social media and on YouTube. We'll see you next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. for another hour of Studio 12. Until then, have a great week. I'm Bazi Kanani.
Where do you go to for like the lyrics when you're coming up with them?
I mean, you've heard a bunch of artists say it before, but I heard in a Sam Bush interview, you just write what you know, otherwise it's gonna feel, not true to you. Yeah. And it is cliche, but it's very true. I gotta mean what I say, otherwise I don't want to sing it. Yeah. And I think, like you said, country and folk is a great way of getting that across.
And we talk a lot also about, being honest, being as open as you can on the page. I think a really scary thing about writing is, no one's ever felt this way. I'm so dramatic, or I'm being so hyper analytical. And at the end of the day, people want to hear about the feelings. They don't want to hear you describe your day. They want to hear how you felt. And it's really been, cool to see our music resonate, and just everyone's feeling something and everyone's felt the way you felt. And we try to really dig into to the humanity of writing.
Can you talk to me about Weight of the World and how that came to be, and what were you speaking to with that song?
Yeah, I wrote that song several years ago when I moved out here from Alabama. Hadn't really seen aspen trees and all those big mountains and everything like that, but I think that song was just kind of where I was at that point in life. It was kind of before the band, honestly. Was just starting writing songs, figuring out if it was something I could do, and to all you songwriters out there, it is something you can do, keep writing. But it was just how I felt, and you know, that first line I think about every time I sing it, the weight of the world is a burden on the strongest of shoulders. I felt like when I moved here, I was taking like the biggest risk and I didn't know anyone or what to do, and sometimes you got to take those chances, and it turned out that I met my 5 best friends and we started a band together, so it was a great decision, but yeah, it was just about kind of the gravity of where life was at that point and not knowing what the next step was.
all the lies below.